What if I told you that rejection isn't the end of your value? It's the invitation to reclaim it. Here's the Stoic truth most men never hear. Their rejection has nothing to do with your worth, and everything to do with how they failed to see it. You don't make them regret rejecting you by chasing, over-explaining, or proving you were enough. You make them regret it by becoming someone so centered, so composed, so unfazed, that your absence speaks louder than any apology they'll never send. Carl Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." So stop resisting the pain of rejection. Transform it. Right now, you might feel angry, confused, or disrespected. Good. Let that become fuel, not for revenge, but for evolution. If you're ready to turn rejection into quiet power that echoes in their memory, like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment. Their silence builds my strength. Number 1. When the storm hits, do you break or become fire? There's a moment we all face, when rejection slams into us like a wave crashing against the shore. You reach out, they disappear. You confess something real and they ghost you. It feels like being left in the storm without a compass. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't the end of your value. It's the beginning of your fire. Like a lighthouse standing against a violent sea. A Stoic man doesn't crumble when the tides rise. He becomes more visible. In a world that teaches men to chase approval, seek reassurance, and beg for closure, Stoicism flips the script. It says, you don't need their acceptance. You need your own command of the storm. More than 2,000 years ago, philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius didn't write about love and loss because they were untouched by it. They wrote because they faced it. They were rejected by lovers, betrayed by allies, forgotten by crowds. And what did they do? They turned inward. They built a fire that couldn't be extinguished by silence, abandonment, or disappointment. Rejection, they taught, is not a verdict on your worth. It's an invitation, an opening to build the kind of inner fortitude that doesn't flinch when people leave. And that fire doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it burns quietly, intentionally. And when it burns long enough, others feel the heat even from a distance. So, this is where we begin, with the radical idea that being rejected might be the very thing that sharpens you into something rare. A man who doesn't chase what walks away, but who becomes the kind of presence that others remember long after they've turned the corner. You'll learn 13 Stoic responses to rejection, each one not just a reaction, but a transformation. Each one is a brick in the foundation of your unshakable strength. We're not here to play the same old game. We're here to master ourselves. Number 2, the art of silence. Why ignoring is a power move, not a weakness. When someone pulls away from you, stops texting, delays their replies, leaves you hanging, it's easy to panic. Your instinct might scream, do something. But the most powerful response isn't another message, it's silence. Stoicism teaches that emotional control is the highest form of strength. And in the face of rejection, nothing demonstrates that control more than mirroring their distance with your own calm absence. You don't chase someone who chooses to walk away. You don't offer your presence to someone who hasn't earned it. In today's world, attention is currency. Think of how easily people get likes, comments, DMs. When your attention becomes just another notification, it loses all weight. But when you withdraw it, when you go silent, when you stop showing up, you shift the dynamic entirely. You become rare, scarce, and psychologically, scarcity drives value. Silence isn't about punishment, it's about posture. It says, I don't need to be loud to be powerful. I don't need to explain myself to be heard. A Stoic man operates on principle, not emotion. When someone removes their presence from your life, you respond by removing your energy from theirs, and in that vacuum, you reclaim your self-worth. She may expect you to double text, to call, to ask what went wrong, but when you do none of that, something shifts. Your silence speaks. It makes her wonder why you didn't react like the others. And that wonder is where the power lies. This isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery. You're not using silence to win her back. You're using it to win yourself back. Because a man who can sit in stillness after rejection is a man who's mastered the most dangerous force of all, his own mind. So next time they ghost you, go cold, not out of bitterness but out of honor. Their silence doesn't deserve your words, your time, your attention, your peace that's sacred. Protect it. Number 3. Emotional control. Why reacting gives away your power. You've just been rejected. Maybe she left your message unread. Maybe she said, "You're a nice guy," but in that instant, your pride flares, your heart sinks, and your emotions want to take over. But here's the truth most men overlook. Your reaction defines your power more than her rejection ever could. When you react emotionally, sending an angry text, pleading for clarity, or spiraling into overthinking, you give her control over your internal world. And what does that say? That your peace is fragile, that your worth depends on her response. Stoicism teaches the exact opposite. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Rejection is an outside event, but your reaction, that's your domain. The moment you choose to remain calm, you reclaim your throne." Think about how rare this is today. Most people are ruled by their impulses, snapping at texts, ranting on social media, or drowning in self-pity. But the Stoic man, he pauses, he breathes, he lets the emotion rise and fall without acting on it. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you master them. You sit with the pain without becoming the pain. And when the world expects a breakdown, you offer only silence and self-possession. That's what makes you unshakable. Now imagine this. She expects you to lash out. Instead, you disappear quietly, without bitterness. She may not notice right away, but days later, when she sees you smiling, focused, living, she'll remember not your words, but your grace, your restraint, that you didn't need to explain yourself to stay dignified. In that moment, your composure becomes more attractive than any plea could have ever been. Because true strength isn't shown in aggression, it's shown in stillness. Number 4. Rejection is redirection, the Stoic upgrade. What if every rejection was the universe's brutal but necessary edit to your story? What if the person who walked away, the job you didn't land, the silence you feared, was actually a sacred detour? Rejection doesn't just close a door, it clears a path. The modern man sees rejection as defeat. The Stoic man sees it as redirection. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And in the face of rejection, most people crumble, they cling, they spiral into narratives of not being enough. But the Stoic reframes. He understands. This wasn't punishment, it was protection. Here's the truth. Rejection reveals incompatibility. She didn't see your value. That's not your flaw, it's insight. Now you know who doesn't deserve to walk beside you. You didn't fail, you were filtered. What a gift. Think of rejection like a compass. It hurts because it moves you. It cuts because it carves a sharper direction. Without it, you'd stay stuck trying to convince someone to see you when you should be busy becoming someone undeniable. Jung called this synchronicity, when the psyche aligns with meaning through unexpected events. Rejection, then, isn't meaningless pain. It's aligned disruption. The world rerouting you to where your strength, wholeness, and worth are truly seen. So the next time rejection hits, pause, smile. You're being redirected to something better, a relationship with someone who truly sees you, a life path where you don't beg to be chosen, you choose yourself first. Because in the Stoic view, even pain serves a purpose, especially pain. Number 5. Rejection reveals who you really are. Rejection is the great mirror, brutal, honest, and unfiltered. It doesn't just reflect how others see you, it reveals how you see yourself when things don't go your way. Most people think rejection diminishes them. The truth, it unmasks them. When you're accepted, admired, or desired. It's easy to feel worthy, but who are you when that praise is gone? That's the real test. Do you spiral into resentment, clinging to lost validation, or do you stand, like Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them." Rejection exposes whether your confidence was real or borrowed, whether your happiness was self-generated or dependent, whether your value was internal or fragile, propped up by external applause. This is where Stoicism becomes your armor. The Stoic does not avoid rejection, he uses it. He observes the wound without flinching. He watches the ego rise and says, "Ah, there you are." And instead of reacting, he rebuilds wiser, calmer, stronger. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the part of ourselves we ignore until life forces it into view. Rejection is that force. It shows you where you are still enslaved to approval. It pushes you to reclaim your power, not through revenge, but through clarity. The question isn't, why did she leave? It's, why did I think her staying defined me? Rejection doesn't weaken a Stoic man. It tempers him. Like fire forges steel, rejection forges identity if you have the courage to face what it uncovers. Number 6. Walk away without a sound. There is no sound louder than silence when it comes from a man who once cared deeply. Most men crumble when rejected. They beg, they plead, they try to prove their worth. But a Stoic man understands this simple truth. The most powerful move isn't to shout your pain, but to walk away in stillness. No closure, no explanation, no chase. Why? Because true value is never argued for, it's felt. Walking away in silence sends a message that vibrates in the subconscious of the one who rejected you. It says, "I don't need you to validate me. I am whole with or without your presence." That calm detachment lingers far longer than any angry message ever could. In Stoic thought, this is apatheia, freedom from emotional disturbance. You're not numb, you're in control, Seneca said. He is most powerful who has power over himself. To leave without drama is to master yourself. Carl Jung might call this a moment of individuation, when you no longer seek to merge with someone else to feel complete, when your silence becomes a boundary, not a punishment. And here's what's truly ironic. Silence often haunts more than words. When she hears nothing, no sadness, no fight, no question, it forces her to question, to wonder, did she matter to you? Were you more composed than she imagined? Could she have been wrong? That mystery creates a gravitational pull, not because you intended to manipulate, but because you chose dignity over reaction. You became rare in a world of men addicted to proving their worth. Walking away silently is not weakness, it is the voice of unshakable power. Number 7. Turn pain into power. Rejection cuts. It bruises the ego. But in the mind of a Stoic, that wound is not a verdict, it is an invitation to rise, to rebuild, and to come back stronger. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not just poetic, it's a practical blueprint. Every rejection you face can be a spark, not for revenge, but for rebirth. When she said you weren't enough, did she truly define you, or did she unknowingly give you the mirror that reflected your blind spots? Stoicism teaches us not to run from the blow, but to absorb it, then redirect that energy inward. You train harder, you build discipline, you go deeper into your purpose, the gym, the business, the craft, the mindset. This isn't about proving her wrong, it's about proving yourself right. Psychologically, this transformation is known as transmutation. Jung would say you're transforming the shadow, the pain, the fear, the inadequacy into drive and self-realization. You're no longer asking, why did she leave, but instead saying, look what I've become in her absence. Most men want closure, but Stoic men create their own, not through explanation, but through execution. You become the man that even she didn't have the vision to see. And by the time she looks back, you're no longer looking in her direction. So use the pain. Let it be your fuel. You don't need to scream your comeback. Let your life become the speech. Number 8. Upgrade your circle. Upgrade your energy. Rejection is often the first crack in a stale foundation. It's the event that forces you to look around and ask, who am I surrounding myself with? Because whether you realize it or not, your circle either amplifies your growth or anchors you in weakness. When she leaves, it's not just a romantic detachment, it's a psychological reorientation. If you continue hanging around friends who validate mediocrity, who wallow in complaints or distractions, you'll remain trapped in the same emotional loop. But if you use that rejection as a signal to upgrade your environment mentally, emotionally, socially, you shift the entire energy field around you. Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. That includes people who challenge your thinking, hold you accountable, and reflect the man you aspire to be, not the man clinging to the past. Psychologically, rejection creates a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. So if you don't consciously refill it with purpose and aligned people, you risk letting pain, bitterness, and low-energy voices flood in. Jung would say, that which you do not consciously integrate becomes your fate. Translation: if you don't upgrade your circle will become your prison. It's time to align with brothers who build, who grow, who show you that your pain is not special, it's shared. And when men heal together, they rise faster. You lost her, fine. Now gain people who won't let you lose yourself. Number 9. Make your comeback quiet and unstoppable. There is a kind of power that doesn't need to be announced. It doesn't rant, it doesn't post cryptic quotes, it doesn't broadcast every gym session or late-night grind, it just builds. After rejection, most men make the mistake of trying to prove something loudly. They want her to see, they want the world to watch. But the man who truly becomes dangerous after rejection is the one who vanishes only to return with presence so undeniable. It silences every doubt without saying a word. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That is your North Star now. Don't seek revenge. Seek reinvention. Don't obsess over attention. Cultivate presence. Jung's shadow work tells us that pain is potential in disguise. When you face rejection, you're handed raw material, your insecurities, your self-doubt, your ego. The comeback isn't just about getting stronger, richer, or more successful. It's about transforming your entire identity so that what once broke you now bows before you. When you make your comeback in silence, you don't just shock her, you shock yourself. You realize that everything you thought you needed was just a distraction from what you were truly capable of. You disappeared from her life. Good. Now let your presence haunt her in the form of a man she never thought you could become. Number 10. The world doesn't owe you closure, and that's your freedom. What hurts most isn't always the rejection. It's the silence after it, the absence of explanation, the unanswered questions that echo in your mind like a song stuck on repeat. Why did she leave? Did I do something wrong? Was I never enough? But here's the truth most men never accept. The world doesn't owe you closure, and when you realize that, you become truly free. Stoicism teaches that we suffer not because of what happens, but because of how we interpret it. If you wait for her to come back and give you a reason, you've handed her your peace. You've chained your healing to someone else's permission. Seneca said, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." When someone ghosts you, walks away, or offers a half-hearted excuse, your power lies not in what they said, but in how you choose to close the story for yourself. Jung would call this reclaiming the projection. You no longer search for validation outside. You no longer need her words to soothe your ego. You sit with the discomfort, stare it down, and say, "I don't need to know why. I only need to know who I choose to become after this." Closure is not a conversation. Closure is a decision. When you stop needing answers, you start writing your own. Number 11. She was never yours, she was her own decision. Rejection stings most when we believe we lost something that was ours. But that's an illusion. She was never yours, not in the way your mind tried to possess her. She was her own thoughts, her own decisions, her own journey. The pain of rejection often comes not from her absence, but from the story we tell ourselves. We had something real. She owed me more. We were supposed to be, but that's attachment, not love. That's projection, not clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." She is an outside event. Her emotions, her doubts, her departures, those are hers to own, not yours to fix. Jung reminds us that we attract not who we want, but who reflects back our unconscious truths. Her leaving might not be a loss, but a mirror. What did her exit awaken in you? Neediness, anger, abandonment wounds. That's your work now. You didn't lose her. You were given space to return to yourself. Every time someone leaves, the universe asks, will you chase them or will you come home? Let her go, not as punishment or bitterness, but as respect for her journey and for yours. She was never yours to begin with. She was a reflection sent to help you see yourself. Number 12. Rejection is a mirror, not a verdict. When someone rejects you, they don't hand you a final judgment on your worth. They hold up a mirror to what still hurts inside. Most people run from that mirror. They scramble to fix it by proving themselves, by chasing, by trying to be more. But the mirror doesn't need to be broken, it needs to be faced. Rejection reflects unmet parts of you. The craving for validation, the fear of not being enough, the belief that love must be earned. It echoes childhood wounds and identity cracks you thought you had covered. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. It's not her saying no that breaks you, it's your belief that her no means you're unworthy." Jung would call this your shadow, the hidden fear that if someone sees all of you, they'll leave. And when they do, it confirms the lie you've internalized. But rejection is also an invitation to rewrite that story. Instead of asking, why didn't she choose me? Ask, why does this hurt so much? The answer will point not to her, but to a part of you waiting to be healed. You don't grow by being chosen. You grow by facing the pain when you're not and realizing it cannot define you. Number 13. Rejection is a gate, not a grave. Too many men treat rejection as the end of their hope, their self-worth, their courage to try again. But rejection is not a grave, it's a gate, a passage, a narrowing of the path that leads to something sharper, truer, and more aligned with your growth. The Stoics never feared failure or refusal, they feared a life unlived. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. The death of one connection may hurt, but the real loss is allowing that hurt to bury your light." Rejection narrows the road not because you're unworthy, but because life is carving you into something more precise. It filters out what doesn't match your future. Every no clears the way for a deeper yes. Jung would see this as synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence designed not by chance, but by necessity. When you're rejected by someone misaligned, it's life pulling you away from distraction and toward individuation, the process of becoming whole. It's easy to think, if only she'd said yes, everything would be different. But maybe her no was the kindest thing the universe could offer, because now you stand before the gate, and the only way forward is through it, not backward. So don't kneel before a closed door. Rise and walk forward through the open one, even if your legs shake. That's how kings are made. Rejection is not an insult, it's initiation, a stripping away of illusion, a test of how much of your self-worth was built on being accepted instead of being unshakable. The Stoics understood that nothing external, no woman's approval, no relationship status should govern your peace. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Said Marcus Aurelius, rejection is an outside event. Your response is your kingdom. This journey hasn't been about forgetting her. It's been about remembering you, Every silence, every no, every moment you were overlooked, it carved you, refined you, not into bitterness, but into clarity, not into arrogance, but into presence. You're not becoming colder, you're becoming calmer. Jung would say, you've touched your shadow, the part of you that aches for validation, attention, and worth. But by facing it, you now lead it. You are no longer enslaved by the need to be chosen. You've chosen yourself. So, don't chase closure, be the closure. Don't beg for connection, embody one. You are not here to prove, you are here to become. When you live with purpose, with restraint, with self-mastery, rejection doesn't diminish you, it defines your ascent. Final message. Rejection didn't ruin you, it revealed you. And the man who walks away from rejection with dignity is already walking toward a higher love, because he carries the greatest attraction of all, unwavering inner peace. You came here looking for revenge. What you found is something far more powerful: emotional sovereignty. The Stoic man doesn't prove his value with words. He proves it with distance, focus, and growth. They rejected you. Good. That means you were never dependent on their validation, only temporarily distracted from your path. Here's how you make them regret it. You disappear with purpose. You build without broadcasting. You create silence that feels like thunder. You become too calm, too rare, and too focused to chase what already let you go. Carl Jung taught that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about becoming. So become the man who no longer seeks to be accepted by those who couldn't see clearly. If you're ready to let go of approval and step into presence, like this video, subscribe, and comment. Their rejection revealed my direction. Stay grounded, stay unreachable, because the best revenge is never needing to be remembered.